a little bit quicker, and then the big drag down to turn 10, down the hill, downhill braking area. Fabulous opportunity to get by someone there if you've had a good run out of turn number 7. It's been challenging teams and drivers for a very long time, and it will do again this weekend. A little bit of cloud cover in the area, but the weather set fair. Shea Adam in this VP Racing Fuel pit and paddock reports. What have you heard between when we got the checkered flag from FP2 to what's going on now?
Not really a lot as far as the WeatherTech Championship is concerned, and that's mostly because people went back to their trucks to try and talk about what they learned. It's a difficult session right now to go out and do the qualifying because so few of the drivers feel as if they'd had adequate track time. One guy who has had enough laps, though, is Frank Montecalvo, who is going to be qualifying the number 12 Lexus, joined again this weekend by Aaron Telitz, who has been driving the 14 Lexus. Now, for every single driver in this GTD category, for every single car, I should say, there are 2 options for who can qualify because you must have 2 silver or bronze rated drivers in the car. So it is a little bit of a mystery as to who is going to get the qualifying duties. So I can tell you a few of the drivers that I do know for sure. We mentioned Frank Montecalvo. It's Michael De Quesada who's going to be in the sister car. That is the 14, so the young Canadian with a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I believe that was the helmet of Matt McMurray making his 150th race start this weekend. Quite a career for a youngster, only 22 years old. That's Misha Goinkberg's distinct blue helmet in the number 57 MSR Acura as well. We know that it's Jan Halen, stepped back from the fences in the number 16 Wright Motorsport Porsche. He's been fast all day, running also in the Michelin Pilot Challenge Series. Jeff Westphal is going to be doing qualifying duties for the 63 Scuderia Course Ferrari, which means that the first time all weekend that Cooper McNeil is going to be driving that 63 machine will be during the race come tomorrow. I believe that was Robbie Foley's helmet behind the wheel of the Turner Motorsports BMW. That would be the 96 machine. And it looks like Gar Robinson, oh yeah, that's Gar with his orange and silver helmet for the 74 Riley Technology Mercedes. Also in the field, we've got the Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini back. That is Madison Snow once again. And the only 3 cars that are still mysteries to me, the 44 GRT Magnus entry, that will either be John Potter or Spencer Pumpelly. The 23 Aston Martin, it's been Ian James doing the qualifying duties for the 3 previous races this year. I would expect it to be him again instead of Roman DeAngelis. And it should be Stein Schothorst, who is the fastest driver in the last session, qualifying for the 11 GRT Lamborghini.
So that's the lineup. Jeremy Shaw joins me in the Haggerty Global broadcast centre. We like these sessions, Jeremy. Quick fire, 15 minutes, start to finish, can't touch the cars. Basically, fuel them up, pat the guys on the head, put a new set of Michelin rubber on and send them out. I think this is tremendously entertaining.
Yeah, see you in 15 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. It's great. And it's also cool to have some different qualifying drivers here this weekend, as Shea was pointing out there. So, you know, it's great to see GRT Grasser Racing back here, not only with the regular Magnus car, but also with their own car, number 11 car, of course, had such success in the 24 and 12-hour races the last few years. With Richard Highstand and Stein Schothorst sharing that car, along with Richard Westbrook. Great to see Richard back. Of course, as a platinum driver, Richard not eligible to qualify the car in this session.
98.1 FM is the local radio here at Road Atlanta. Thanks very much to Dave Miller, as ever, for getting us on the air on the PA as well, and to our colleagues at Charlotte, Keith and Alex, looking after us in terms of giving us pictures from right the way around the circuit. And if you're around the world, we have got sound and vision together for you from a beautiful late afternoon, early evening at Road Atlanta, at IMSA.tv or at radio-show.co.uk. The clock is already counting down. Both of the IM Vasser Sullivan Lexus RCF GT3s have gone out early, as has Jan Helen in the multicolour or multi-shade of blue Porsche from Wright Motorsports. That's the 16 car. The heart of racing, the darker coloured blue Aston Martin Vantage, has got Ian James at the wheel. And as the rest of the teams go out, we'll let you know. Goldberg is out, Westphal for Scuderia Corsa is out, Gar Robertson is out, Shinji Machini is out in the Acura, and Robbie Foley in that Turner Motorsport BMW is out as well. And already the Lexus are starting their first flying lap down towards the awesome first corner. Very easy to overbrake for that, and it's the number 14 that leads them out. De Quesada at the wheel of that car through turn 2 and 3. Just trying to roll as much speed through as you can there, and down through the S's. Lovely when you haven't got traffic there. Up the turn 5. Just get up on the right-hand curb there and run straight down the right-hand curb before you turn in left-handed. That way you miss the little bump in the middle, and you can get on the power a tad earlier. Already he's up to 6, and through the bank corner that is 6. Will be looking slightly into the sun as it's setting as he turns in for turn 7, and then up onto the back straight, up over the first rise, and what is actually a couple of corners are on that straight, to be honest, but they are flat out in terms of the corner numbers. Crests the second of the rises, and then down towards the complex at 9-10 area, and he's through that now. This is a tidy lap, at least for the moment, as Madison Snow's just left the pits for Paul Miller Racing in their Lamborghini, and across the line, and that is a 1:22.6. Jeremy, what sort of times should we be looking for?
Well, the fastest, the lap record was set last year by Corey Fergus in a Lamborghini at a 1:19.
Corey Lewis.
What did I say? Corey Fergus. Yes.
It's all right. I did that all weekend in VIR.
He's been on pole for 2 of the last 3 races, but this time it's Corey Lewis. You're right. Thank you, Shay. In the Lamborghini for 1 year ago, 1:19.530. The fastest lap of the day so far was set earlier by Stein Schotthorst at a 1:20.3, so quite a long way outside that time. Perfect conditions now. Not sure about the temperature, but I mean, I'm sure it's cooler than it was earlier in the day, so I would expect to see some faster lap times in this session than we've seen earlier today. Interestingly also, of course, by this time tomorrow, even the victory celebrations will be just about completed, won't they?
Yeah, that's a good point. The air temperature hasn't changed that much from earlier today. It's been around the 30, 31, 32 Celsius. But the track temperature, which was an awful lot higher, down at 34 degrees Celsius now, and that's because there's a little bit of shade at various parts of the track, and there has been a wee bit of wispy cloud just to take the UV index down on the track surface itself. Into the final corner then for the Lexus, across the line for Frankie Montecalvo, 1:20.567. So the Lexus still holds sway ahead of Misha Goldberg for Acura in the 57. Robbie Foley up to 3rd. Then De Quesada in the 2nd of the Lexus. Jeff Westphal just goes up into 5th position. He's about a 2nd away. Early doors for the GT Daytona category. Not seen the GRT Magnus Lamborghini yet. And Steve Shotthurst just winding up to his first flying lap as well. So yet to see how the trio of Lamborghinis will get on. Madison Snow, his first, a 1:22.6, only good enough for 8th position for the number 48 car. 9.5 minutes to go as Madison is down again at the bottom of the hill and going a little bit quicker. This is going to move him up, I think, into the top 5 if he gets a clean run through the final corner. That red, white and dark grey machine cross the line, and is that an improvement for Madison? It's went a 2nd, even better than I thought. 1:20.624 as Montecalvo improves to a 20.326. So 0.2 of a second between 1st and 2nd, and Mishimi gets in there as well. Now this is more like it, Jeremy. Lexus,
It is, yeah.
Acura, Lamborghini, Acura, Lexus, BMW, the top 6, 3/4 of a second between them.
Yeah, and it's coming down. Ferrari sneaks in there as well. Jeff Westphal into 6th position as well. And it's been a busy day for Madison Snow. He's already qualified for a pair of Lamborghini Super Trofeo races that will take place over the next couple of days. I think he was on the pole for one of them and second in the other race. So he knows how to get his head into qualifying trim, albeit, of course, a very different car. The Super Trofeo Lamborghini is a good bit quicker on the straights, but not nearly as good through the corners. So it's a little bit of a mental adjustment needed for Madison Snow in this session, but he's done a good job to get himself into what is now the 4th place with Jan Heylen. I was just about to say, watch out for Jan Heylen in this session, driving the Wright Motorsports Porsche up into 2nd place, John.
Yeah, and that's a very good run indeed, and nice to see that car up. And Snow goes to the top. We've got a 120 point. I mean, we're talking fractions here, Jeremy. They are literally shaving fractions of a second, finding something at one corner. Monte Calvo back to the top. Goikberg improves to 3rd. Halen now down to 5th position as Mishimi improves, and still the top 5 within, what, 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, and that's despite the fact that Frankie Montecalvo's best on this last lap at 19.757. He's got nearly half a second on everybody, or 4.5 tenths on everybody, and he's now within a couple of tenths of a second, yes, of the lap record that's set in Lamborghini last year by Corey Lewis.
Still haven't seen the Lamborghini of GRT Magnus, and we're over halfway through this session. Are they just playing it cool, Shea? And I mean, they don't have to qualify. They can only be in 12th position, and I presume that they all know their way around here.
Well, we're not going to see the Magnus Racing Lamborghini. They've elected to skip qualifying and save the set of tires. Now, it should be noted that every team at the start of I was going to say the weekend, today in GTD was given 9 sets of tires. We're expecting 6 pit stops over the course of the race. The first of those is the tires that you start the race on, you qualified on. So that's a little bit interesting to me. That perks something up in my head.
I agree, Shea, particularly over the last several races. John Potter, he tends to qualify towards the back of the field in any case, but he likes the extra track time. But often they will change the tyres in any case, irrespective of where they qualified, and go maybe back 1 or 2 places to start at the back with that fresh set of tyres. So this time they're not even bother going through qualifying and start on that fresh set of emissions. So I think that's a pretty good ploy.
Down to the last 6 minutes. And again, as we said, everybody's been thrown out there and said, don't come back until you either run out of fuel or the checkered flag is out. And in fact, Monte Calvo has come in. So he must feel he's got the best in that 6-lap run that he's had out of his Michelin tyres. Halen goes through 119.920, improves to 2nd, 10th and a half away. Madison Snow 120.0 last time around, Jeremy.
Yeah, you're right, John. And he was purple in the middle sector on that last lap for Jan Heylen, but he's losing 2.5 tenths of a second through the first sector, which is only from start-finish line to kind of not even the top of the hill, so through turn 1. That's where he's losing more than enough time. That would be, if he could find out, he'd be on the pole position, but he can't at the moment, and this lap doesn't seem to be any improvement there. But Madison Snow, meanwhile, is back up into 2nd place. This is a good battle, isn't it?
Very good. A little mistake there by the Lamborghini. Very close to the bridge abutment there for the green Lamborghini. That is Steen Schotthurst in the 11, the GRT Grasser Racing team. He is 11th of the 11 cars that have gone at the moment. And a mistake going down through the S's as well, with a little wiggle for the 3rd place car. That was well, actually, that must have been De Quesada. That must have been earlier on, because it did have the number 3 illuminated on the side of the car. He's done a bit of very rapid grass cutting in that machine,
I think it's probably an 8. I think the rest,
was it an 8? Yeah, you're right.
The rest of 3 is probably covered up by the grass, John. That was about.
Yeah, I'll buy that for $1. That's the best sounding and fastest grass cutting I've ever seen. Nasty slide from the rear of that Lexus, coming down effectively through what is turn 3 and 4 down through the S's, and in fact he's tried to stop and get rid of that so that he doesn't have to come in to the pit lane. The problem is, if he comes into the pit lane, by the strict letter of the law, Shea, they can't touch that, can they?
No, they can't. He can do more good to come to an abrupt stop out on the track and try to clear the grass out of there. But for Michael de Quesada, it looks like it might just be, yeah, guys, I tried. Let's not blow the engine on this thing.
Yeah. Well, he's got a decent time. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
Yeah, no, he'll be a bit disappointed. 38th wasn't what he was expecting, but look, it is super tight, isn't it? I mean, the entire field of 11 cars, with John Potter not having gone out there, is covered by 1.071 of a second. Okay, this is a relatively quick lap around here, just less than 80 seconds, but still, that's very, very tight in qualifying times here.
So down into the last couple of minutes, engine off for the Lexus. De Quesada in the pit, Robbie Foley in the pit, the top 4 in the pit. Goldberg still out there, but not improving. No sign.
No, having fun.
Yeah, but having a huge amount of fun.
As Mitchell always does. He'll drive anything anywhere. He's got quite a lot of experience here at Road Atlanta too. He's had podium finishes here in the old IMSA Prototype Lights Championship, which of course he won back in 2012. He's 14. He's also had podium finishes here in F1600. He's driven here in Trans Am, in Formula 4 2000, you name it. Misha's got experience here at this racetrack, and to get another few laps here in that Heinrich Racing with Meyer Shank Acura NSX GT3, he's going to take it.
90 seconds to go.
Short horse can do. He's stayed out there in that Lamborghini. I think he'll be disappointed to be way down there in 10th position, the 25-year-old from Holland. See what he can do here.
He's quick in this middle sector. Last time around, first sector is only a short 10-second one, and that's Monte Calvo who's quickest in that. The middle sector at the moment belongs to Jan Halen for Wright Motorsports. Shothurst jumps up to 6th position with a 120.4, and that means we've now got the top 8 within, well, make that the top 10 within 9/10 of a second. So as Jeremy predicted, it has indeed it has closed up during that session. Last 30 seconds, and Shothurst the only one potentially to improve. Not a bad first sector. Let's see how it does in sector 2. 9.6.
It wasn't an improvement.
No.
But it was an improvement in the middle sector. That's the longest part of the track, isn't it? It's for over 40 seconds in that middle sector. So you can do now coming down into 10 and 10A, John.
If he has a decent last part of the lap here, this could move him up onto the front 2 rows. Currently sits on the outside of row 3. Checkered flag is out. This will be the last opportunity for Shothurst, and he moves at 1 position, so he swapped sides with 2 personal best sectors in 2 and 3. Just a couple of tenths lost to the absolute best of Frankie Monte Calvo in the first sector, but those 2 tenths that he lost there, that would have taken him onto the front row, so or very close to it at least. So we are talking about very fine margins here, Jeremy, today.
We are indeed. Absolutely. It is super tight all the way down. And we were wondering, you mentioned that Monte Calvo was quickest in the first sector, which is just basically turn 1, which is all about cornering speed. It was Halen in the Porsche quickest in the second sector, which is most of the quick bits on the racetrack. Interestingly, the final sector belongs to Ian James in the Heart of Racing Team Aston Martin Vantage. He's in 11th position overall, just a hair over 1 second off the pole time, but he was the quickest through that final sector, which is basically the final chicane and the last corner diving down a hill.
Very committed, obviously. Ian Vassar-Sullivan and the 12 car, Frank Montecalvo, take pole position then for the Saturday race. Shea Adam has this VP Racing Fuel Pit and Paddock report.
Aaron Telitz, it seems that you're just bringing the good luck with you to whatever car you join. First off, how much of a surprise is this for the Ian Vassar-Sullivan team to come away with a pole at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, a bit surprising, but obviously Frankie did such an incredible job out there putting in that awesome lap. I think it's all down to him. He just drove the wheels off this Lexus RCS GT3 car here.
Is there any difference from your point of view driving the 12 versus driving the 14? I know that Jordan Taylor talked in the past about the different seating preferences between the co-drivers in the 3 and the 4 Corvettes. Is there anything like that for the Lexus?
Very small. Maybe the pedals are just slightly adjusted differently in the 12 car, but the seat is almost exactly the same. My seat insert slides right in. So, no, I feel right at home in the 12 car or in the 14 car. So we're going to be great this weekend.
It seems like everyone in GTD is expecting a flat-out sort of dogfight the whole way through. So how important is it to have that first starting position?
Yeah, obviously, I think it's really important. Track positions are always important, and especially at a 6-hour race where it's just going to be flat out the whole way. It's not going to play like an endurance race, I don't think. We're just going to be pushing as hard as we can the whole race.
Hey, Aaron, it's Hindhoff here in the global broadcast booth, the Haggerty Global Broadcast booth. Do you come into this with a slightly different attitude for a 6-hour race than you would do for what we might call a standard race length?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Obviously, however we do the driver stints, if we've got a double in the heat tomorrow, that's going to be a little bit tougher than we normally have to deal with at the shorter races. So I guess that's a little bit different from that mindset, but I think it's still going to be basically a sprint.
Well, race well, young sir, and enjoy the weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks to Shea Adam and for the teams and PRs for helping us out so that we can still talk to the drivers. The pole sticker goes on the left front fender of the GTD pole sitter. The Bayshore sponsored Lexus. Still can't really get used to seeing the guys getting their photographs taken with the masks on. Understand why it has to be there. And a chance for him to be congratulated by his team. That was a good run by Frank Montecalvo, Jeremy, and sets them up nicely, as Shea said, at the front of the field. Hopefully you stay out of trouble a little more when you're at the sharp end. I know it's a 6-hour race and there'll be a lot of people thinking, how much does it matter? Well, it matters because it potentially can open up the strategy a wee bit, and you're not in a dogfight at the back of a 12-car field.
Yeah, indeed so. And as competitive as it is, if you can start up front, stay up front, gives you a better opportunity to remain there for the whole of the race. So good job there by Frankie Montecalvo. His second pole of his career, and of the season. He was on the pole also at Sebring, and that means now in 3 of the last 4 races, he started on the front row of the grid. First, second, he was third last time out on the grid at VIR and on the pole again here. So he's really getting the hang of this Lexus, isn't he, Frankie Montecalvo?
Coming up next then, we move up into the GT Le Mans. These are the Pro Class GT cars, all entered by the factories concerned, and Shea Adam can give us the starting drivers.
It's certainly been an exciting week for Tommy Milner, who became a father for the first time as he and his wife Lauren welcomed baby Ava to the world on August the 28th. Tommy looking for his first pole position to try and bring the whole thing full circle. I kind of like how that works out. As for the driver of the number 3, his sister car, the yellow one that's leading the championship, well, it's been Jordan Taylor for the last 4 races, and they've won 3 of those 4. But it's going to be the Spaniard, Antonio Garcia, going back out for pole position honors. So that's how the Corvettes line up. How about the Porsches next? Lawrence Vantor has not exactly had the best run here at Road Atlanta. He's looking to put that behind him, though, by keeping a streak alive, because we have not had a repeat pole position setter in the GTLM category going all the way back to the merge in 2014, and Vantor can continue that streak today. Coincidentally, his teammate Nick Tandy in the 911 can end that streak. He got the first pole position back here in 2014. He's looking to try and add his name to the tome in 2020 as well. Well, the 2 BMWs, I have one answer for you so far. I don't know who's going to be qualifying the 24, whether it's John Edwards, who, again, could end the no repeat pole positions because he got one back in 2018 at this track, or Jesse Krohn, who has never been on pole here. But it will be Connor DeFilippi qualifying the 25, and Connor was the fastest one in GTLM in the last session. He thinks they have some speed in the car, but he also thinks that everyone else was doing some fuel saving, perhaps trying to figure out what their stint would be. So it might not be as plain and simple as a BMW on top of the charts, but if it is, you know that Connor's going to do everything he can to make sure that it's the red one. And by the way, I love the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta PA system. I've said that a few times today. Thank you, John Edwards. It's Jesse Krohn qualifying the 24.
Very good. Very good indeed. Dave Miller, who we've worked with there for very many years in various guises of the ALMS Radio Web and IMSA Radio more latterly. Dave, an integral part of the hard-working team at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, and in the big redesign with the new press room and that fabulous facility on the final corner. Well, everything was upgraded there for the sound system as well. Not all plain sailing down at Corvette with the engine cover, as I've got to say now, on the 3 car. Taken off a few moments ago. They're having a look around the gearbox and the rear end of that car. It has been refitted, but there's some consternation there, and I'm not sure that the mid-mounted V8 has got fire in it at the moment. I'll let Shea get onto that. That would be a big story, Jeremy, simply because of the rich vein of form that the Corvettes have been in since taking that 100th victory in IMSA competition on Saturday the 4th of July.
Yeah, that's true. But having said that, just a couple of poles out of the 5 races so far for Corvette racing, just one for each of the cars, one for number 3, one for number 4. And Tommy, good to hear that Tommy Milner's going to have an opportunity here to get the pole position. Of the drivers in GTLM, the 12 of them in the 6 cars, only Tommy Milner and Bruno Spengler, who's only completed in 9 races, have yet to have a pole position to their credit. So everybody else out there already has at least one pole position. Actually, Connor DeFilippi, who is going to qualify at number 25 car, he's only got 1. So that number 25 car have 1 pole between the 2 of them. All of the other cars out in the grid, they have a minimum of 5 between the 2 drivers.
That's Jeremy Shaw, who is with me, John Hinoff, in the Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre, just waiting to get this session underway, and we do seem to be just waiting for a moment or two longer than I was anticipating. Live in sound and vision as the green flag has been waved.
Yep.
Yeah, it has been waved. Not everybody jumping into action, but this is the way of the world in GT Le Mans. Number 4 Corvette is going out and heads out on its own. Now this is interesting. BMW's normally the last out, Corvette's almost always the first out, Porsche's somewhere in the middle, and Tommy Milner then taking out the number 4 car onto an absolutely clear track. This might look a little bit different. We saw improvements right the way through the GT Daytona session. Remember, as far as tyres are concerned, GT Le Mans, unique in IMSA competition, still using Michelin, of course, as everyone in the WeatherTech does, but they have a much broader choice of IMSA compounds to choose from. Broadly speaking, using the very similar compounds as you would find in the FIA WEC. The Corvettes, of course, have had to have something built for them since they went to mid-engine. And Michelin looks after each of the manufacturers directly. And you have a choice of 3 slick compounds over a weekend, working directly with your Michelin tyre engineer. So Milner out on his own here, and still no one else has responded, Jeremy. Now normally we see the Corvettes going out early, but it's normally both of them. This one's very interesting.
Yeah, it is unusual, isn't it? That particularly as we hear there are no problems for number 3 car, despite the fact the engine cover was off just a few minutes ago.
Well,
but
I do have an update on that.
Go ahead.
If you'd like it. They noticed that
yes.
some insulation was making some noise on the drive out to the pit lane, so they decided to fix it now instead of fixing it after qualifying and keeping the guys here even later.
Okay. And it moves. It moves under its own steam, so whatever was ailing the 3 has not stopped it going out. My goodness, they are purposeful looking machines, these new C8Rs. Thank you to Corvette Racing for making the 2 cars different liveries as well. Makes it very easy to remember that the 3's the yellow and the 4 isn't. Here comes Tom Milner then. Should expect him to see. Well, let's see how he has got the Michelin tyres up to temp and pressure. Gently is the answer to that. He hasn't yet got a time ahead of the GT Daytona field, but don't let that worry you. We've seen this many times before, Jeremy, just how careful these drivers are bringing the tyres up into optimum range. Porsche's out as well now. Yeah, Porsche's out as well now. At least one of the Porsches. Antonio Garcia has gone out with you. It's Lawrence Vanthoor that's gone out in the 912. So relatively slow start to this session. We're already down to 11 of the 15 that we started with. Remember, the fastest time we saw in GTD was a 1:19.7. Paul Sitter, Frankie Montecalvo and Aim Vassar-Sullivan for Lexus. Waiting for more times to come in, and still at the moment nobody has put the fast time in that we're expecting until Tommy Milner goes through now. There it is then, a 17.8, 1 minute 17.8. So a couple of seconds quicker than the GT Daytona pole, and something a little more competitive. But Jeremy, there's time to come there, I would say.
Yeah, definitely, no question about that. The lap record set last year by James Collado in the absent Ferrari, 1:15.639, the quickest time of the day in practice was set by Conde Felipe this morning at this afternoon actually, 1:16.8. So I would think there's a good bit more time yet to come from those Corvettes.
Still to come. We have the prototypes, of course. They'll get their own 15-minute session to set pole for the WeatherTech SportsCar Championship and this Michelin Endurance Challenge Weekend. A 6-hour contest on Saturday, by the way. I'm going to keep saying it because we've all got ourselves so used to the WeatherTech being the feature race on the second day of racing normally. The last couple of rounds they've been swapped round. 1:16.657 then as Frankie Montecalvo improves again. Lawrence Vantour getting up to pace as well. Expect him to put in a more representative lap in the 9:1.2 the next time he crosses the line. He was winding the pace up, as was Antonio Garcia. Still to see the two BMWs. Nick Tandy has come out of the pit lane in the 911, number 911 Porsche. 8.5 minutes to go then, a minute to half distance. Garcia 1:17.9, so the same sort of first representative lap time as his teammate put in, but his teammate's just lobbed what, 1.3 seconds of his first flying lap time. Comes through now to complete another lap. Here's Milner, a 16.5, so that's another 10th he's taken out of there. So the big improvements are from flying lap 1 to flying lap 2, and then Milner just chipping away there, takes a 10th off. Vantour goes into second with a 16.8. Now that was about a second quicker than the first of the fast laps of the Corvettes. What does that mean for the second flyer for Vantour, which he's on at the moment through the S's and up to turn 5? Porsche looks very well set indeed through the twisty parts of the circuit in the opening part of the lap, Jeremy.
It does, doesn't it? And I think there's not a lot to choose between these three GTLM manufacturers at the moment. I think IMSA's done a really good job of trying to balance out the performance of them, and there's been, I think, some minimal changes. Not sure there's been any changes actually. I've lost my sheet now since the last race at VAR. Certainly nothing significant, and I think they're all pretty closely matched. The Porsches actually had to add a little bit of weight, 20 kilos of weight added to the Porsches, but I think that's probably not going to slow them down an awful lot, and I would expect them to be very much in contention for the pole position.
Another 2/10 found by Tommy Milner, gets down to a 16.3, but here's Vantour coming through, and 16.4, so not the improvement that he was looking for, but he's close. 0.093 of a second, just under a 10th behind Milner, and he effectively is doing the same sort of progression but one lap earlier on his tyres from what we've seen for Tom Milner. Nick Tandy down to a 20.6, and finally the BMW's roll with just 6 minutes to go. Conor De Filippi and Jesse Krohn are both out on the circuit. Garcia back into second, Jeremy, and it's so tight. 3 cars within a 10th now.
Yeah, within a 10th of a second. That's absolutely right. It's fantastic, isn't it? Tommy Milner just got the upper hand over Antonio Garcia and Lawrence Vantour. It's curious, isn't it, how the BMW team RLL just wait until the last few minutes every single time. Yeah, they just throw one set of tires at minimal fuel, see what they can lay down. With the Corvettes, they just run all the way through the session as a general rule and just go faster and faster and faster. So interesting to see how different those two strategies are between BMW and Corvette, and we'll see which one is more effective here this evening at Michelin Raceway.
So BMW's on their preparation laps, because at least the first 2 laps are basically just getting the Michelin tyres up to pressure and temperature. No tyre warming blankets allowed in this form of racing, so they are cold
Tandy's on a good lap.
Tandy on that's his third flyer, so his preparation lap, flyer 1, flyer 2, and now his fast lap. He's got down to a 16.8 on the previous lap. If he gets the same sort of improvement, he might be challenging his teammate and the 2 Corvettes. He is a 1:16.1, and he blows apart what was very tight. Remember, 3 cars within a 10th, and he's gone ahead, Jeremy, by a 1/10 and a half. Nick Tandy delivers for Porsche ahead of Milner in second, who trims that time back to half a 10th, and then Vantour now up into third. Still 3 cars under a 10th, but it's a different 3 cars.
That's amazing. That really is amazing. Absolutely astonishing. I mean, Antonio Garcia, 20 seconds ago was second. No, first, I beg your pardon, first. And then he's now been bumped down to fourth. And still out on the racetrack, but not on a quick lap this time round, as Colin De Filippi sets his first proper flyer and jumped into fourth position. Well, he's way off the pace at 0.126 of a second.
Yeah, just extraordinary. Jesse Krohn just coming up to pace, and his prep laps effectively with 3 minutes to go, and pole position very much still up for grabs. Corvette have done the winning. Nick Tandy, saying to me on Midweek Motorsport on Wednesday, said that, you know, when he looks at the season for Porsche GT team, he says A for effort, C for the results that they have achieved. And they have been pace setters a number of times this year, but have not been able to convert. In fairness, not always through their own fault. They have had a bit of bad luck, punctures when a race victory surely at VIR was on the cards. But ultimately, it'll come down to how many points are in the bank at the end of the season at Mobile 1 Sebring 12 hours. Jeremy's laughing again.
I am. Because, actually, Lawrence Vantour, no, he didn't improve. He's actually brought the car into the pits. Number 912 car is in the pits then. Okay, it flashed, and it was 0.078 away from the front. But there is an improvement for Colin De Filippi then. So he is also now within that same 1/10 of a second. Last lap, by the way, Antonio Garcia was on a good lap, but then slowed down in the final section. Now he's on a better lap, and he's jumped up remarkably into second place. Not quite sure how he managed to do that. He's 0.03 seconds behind Nick Tandy and 0.015 ahead of his teammate Tommy Milner. This is stunning.
6 cars, 5 cars within a 10th now. 5 cars within a 10th of a second.
Both Porsches now in the pit lane. So Nick Tandy's put number 911 car in, and he'll be hoping that Antonio Garcia or Tommy Milner doesn't take one fewer breath this time around the 2.54 miles.
Well, this is coming down to how much the car's going to weigh. This is proper old-fashioned qualifying. Burning fuel off. The Michelin tyre is clearly still got plenty of grip around the 2.5 miles of Road Atlanta, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Maybe a bit of a tow as well for the number 4 car in behind the BMW as it comes down to the braking area at the amphitheatre. Oh, just a little bit squirrely on the brakes under turning for the second place car of Antonio Garcia. Now under the bridge and down to the final corner. He'll have one more lap at the end of this and crosses the line. Oh, he's improved but doesn't go to pole. 0.014 of a second.
Fabulous.
So here's the gaps. Here are the gaps.
Well, before you do that, Colin De Filippi did improve on his last lap.
Yeah.
But he remains in 5th place. Now go tell us the gap.
And Jesse Krohn improved as well. So the whole field is within 0.2 of a second. The top 5 are under 1/10 of a second. First to second, 0.014. Second to third, 0.031. Third to fourth, 0.033. Checkered flag is out. And fourth to fifth, 0.008. The biggest gap of all is from 5th to 6th, which is a full 1/10 of a second, which is more than everything else added together. Just bonkers stuff.
John?
Go ahead, Shea.
I covered Forza Motorsport last year, video game racing. We had competition that couldn't get this close.
Yeah. No, it is extraordinarily tight for them. I think Tandy's home and hosed now. It's Jesse Kron, the only driver who can take it from him, and Kron has pitted, so it will be then pole position for the boss, as his team tell him. And the JTR guys were racing last weekend at Knock Hill in the UK or Carrera Cup GB, should I say. And what a lap, what a qualifying session, Jeremy Shaw, for GT Le Mans.
Yeah, pretty impressive, wasn't it? That's, I think it's the 8th pole, I think, for Nick Tandy, 9th pole for Nick Tandy, and that's third on the all-time list now. Well, at least in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. James French leads away on 12, Ricky Taylor on 10, and now Nick Tandy, I think, on 9.
Tandy will pull out to take his just rewards with the green marker lights within the headlights of the LEDs on the 911. Heads down to, as I say, take the accolades and a well for. I mean, that is. Hi, Nick Tandy. Here's the first question. So, 0.014 of a second. Where did you make that time up, Antonio Garcia?
Love it.
Just brilliant stuff. And take a bow, by the way, the Simon and Jeff and the guys at IMSA Technical, because that is an extraordinary. I know it's a relatively short track here and a short lap, but you are talking 76 seconds and a margin of under 0.2 of a spread for the top 6 for the whole field of cars in GT Le Mans, which are, let's be honest, very different cars nowadays, with the 19 version of the Porsche, the brand new mid-engined C8R for Corvette, and the oldest car now is the BMW with the engine in the front, the only front engine car for the M8 GTE. Makoviecki there with Nick straight away, and Nick, ever the gentleman, making sure that his teammates in there as well before he gets the photographs and the interviews. Now this really is a big weekend for Porsche. I think they have to convert this weekend to keep the pressure, Jeremy, on the guys at Corvette, because there's only 6 cars. There's not going to be a big point swing, and as we alluded to before, you know, they've had the opportunity to take decent points in the past, and they haven't been able to get the cars to the positions that perhaps their pace should have given them.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably a fair comment. I mean, the Porsche's been on pole for 3 of the 5 races, including the last 2 in a row at Road America and VIR, and neither of them did they translate into a victory for a variety of reasons. I mean, they've had no luck at all on their side, no question about that in recent events. But it was Fred Makoviecki who put the car on pole position at VIR, Nick Tandy the race before that, and here he is again then, a hat-trick of consecutive poles for the Porsche GT team.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Top 5 are within a 10th, and the top 6, the whole field, 0.192 of a second. That, I mean, that is, even, I know it's a short track, but even on a short track, I have sat down, not because I'm not excited, but I'm absolutely flabbergasted by that. I think that's the closest session that we've had, certainly for a wee while, Jeremy. That is the closest spread that we've had in GT Le Mans.
Yeah, no question. With 5 cars within, 0.086 of a second, yeah, that really is, it's almost silly. It's brilliant. And, all 3 manufacturers in there as well. Great to see. And I tell you what, I mean, Yeah, is Jesse Crone losing it? You know, he's just turned 30th birthday yesterday. I think maybe he's lost all his pace now. You know, he's a whole 10th behind the pack there in sixth position. I'm kidding, Jesse. It was a great effort. Even that, you know, he just had really a couple of laps he only did a total of 4 laps in that session. So you know, it was a great effort all the way around by all 3 manufacturers. And I think, well, this certainly bodes well for tomorrow, doesn't it?
I look at that, and really, when you're talking about that, that is, you know, an extra scoop of ice cream at lunch. It's an extra biscuit. I remember Alex Brundle. Alex Brundle got his nickname of a Cookie Monster, not because he eats cookies, because he turned one down here at Hindhoff Towers because he thought it might put half a tenth on his lap time the next day when he was out on track. You know, that is literally 2 cookies, if that's the case. In Brundle speak. Let's get into the prototypes. I have a suspicion that it will be just as exciting and just as competitive. Shea Adam, our VP Racing Fuel pit reporter, has the qualifying drivers.
Well, I'm sort of sitting here, and I apologize because I'm sure you can hear me going, ooh, in the background as I'm noticing who's driving.
Well, I'll just tell you what El Perry has tweeted, and it is the perfect, the perfect summation of what we've just seen. GTLM delivers. End of. That's it. Yeah, perfectly done, El. Sorry, Shea, go ahead.
It's true, and it's sort of cruel that that's the appetizer for this entree of prototype qualifying, which now we expect to be even more spectacular than what we were just treated to. How about LMP2? Let's start with that one. I know it's Dwight Merriman in the number 18 for ERA, so he's getting a little bit of practice before going over to Le Mans. And I believe that is the black helmet of Mr. Kelly. So he's trying to get another position as Patrick Kelly. Birthday boy. So let's see if he can't get it done. That would be pretty exciting. In the prototype class, though, the first ooh that came out of my mouth was because I noticed a bright yellow helmet beneath a glossy black Cadillac. So Renger van de Zande qualifying the number 10 Konica Minolta Cadillac. That car had some electronic issues during the practice session last time around, which caused them to be slightly delayed getting out on track. Tristan Nunez's white and gold helmet is installed behind the wheel of the 77, and that's Tinks. That's Harry Tinknell for the 55 Mazda. So that's going to be a super impressive performance by the 2 Mazda boys. I have a lot of faith in them. JDC Miller Motorsports for the Cadillac. I noticed in the banana boat, it's Matthias Leist, who Jeremy said is going to be turning 22 next week. So a lot of pressure on his young shoulders. And my biggest ooh was because it's a blue helmet behind the wheel of the number 5 Mustang sampling Cadillac, which means that Sebastian Bourdais is going to go out for qualifying for them in that Cadillac effort. Still need to find out who is in the 2 Acuras, but while we've got an opportunity, let's go look at the red car that was on pole at the Petit Le Mans. It was Felipe Nasser who put it on pole then. He's going to try and defend that now. So that's going to be another exciting part to watch. And all we have left are the 2 Acuras. It's either going to be Juan Montoya or Dane Cameron in the 6, and Elio or Ricky Taylor in the 7, because, and this is one thing that's important to hit on, the Acuras have elected to only do 2 drivers for this 6-hour race, whereas the 5, the 31, and both Mazdas have gone with 3.
And we've already heard Aaron Telitz when he was talking about his teammate Frank Montecalvo taking pole for GTD, saying in the heat of the day we're not sure whether we will double or single stint. Well, that's interesting. So that's Castro Neves in the car that he shares with Taylor. And what's your bet? What's your best bet, Shea?
Well, they missed the first practice session, did the number 6, because of a turbo issue. So they did get quite a bit of running in the second practice session. If I'm up on the 6th pit box, I'm going to start Dane Cameron because he's kind of a beast at starting races, and that would be Dane Cameron's helmet. Hey, I got something right.
No, okay, you get the points for that. Ricky Stiles, the prototypes never look better as we head towards sunset. He's just tweeted that at IMSA Radio. And Ian McCarthy, hello Ian, said that Might only be a 6-car field, but they look good in the evening sun. Keith 100, only 6 cars. Quality time so close, they look fabulous. This is qualifying at its very best, and we are about to set the pole position time for the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, the Michelin Endurance Challenge, and straight away the 2 Multimatic Mazdas head out. Oh, those little 2-litre motors revving. Who went out before them? That was that's the number 10 as well. So that's out with Renger van der Zande for Konica Minolta. The P2s have gone out as well. Now, have both of the P2s gone out? Yes, they have. Patrick Kelly, as Shea mentioned, for PR1 in the 52. Already a bit of weaving going on for Harry Tinknell, who sweeps past Renger van der Zande, and that car is set really low. As he was sweeping side to side, the 55 Mazda was scraping the ground. The sparks were flying. So this looks like a much more aggressive outlet, Jeremy, for the DPIs, as the track temperature still sits at around about 33. Amazingly aggressive by Tinks as he was weaving down the back straight.
Yeah, is it still that hot? I'm surprised it's that hot this late into the evening. Yeah, no, it's. I think tyre degradation is a factor here at Road Atlanta, which is one of the reasons why the Magnus GRT team elected not to go out at all in the GTD qualifying. And also, as Shay was saying, because the limited number of tyres that are allocated to each of the teams this weekend. So you want to get those tyres up to temperature as quickly as you can. I think the Mazda is. We've seen it's a pretty good qualifying car, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It is also the lightest of the DPI contenders out there, at 910 kilograms, as opposed to 930 for the Acura, 945 for the Cadillacs, which actually lost a bit of weight coming into this weekend, the Cadillacs. I think we often see that they want to get the temperature into the tyres as quickly as they can and go for it.
Well, nobody's hanging about, no doubt about that in my mind. And that 55 car goes across the line. This time it's the left front that is scraping the ground through the final corner as Tinks is leaning on that, and through turn one. And in the slightly fading light here, you can really see the sparks from the titanium skid plates. And as I once famously, and have been told before, said those are the most expensive sparks you'll ever see, because they are the titanium skid plates on the bottom of the front spoiler. Well, that tells me that they've set their tyre pressures, particularly at the front, quite low, and the ride height very low as well. So Tinks a 13.9 on his first flyer, but Patrick Kelly was quicker in the LMP2 Oregon with a 13.5. I suspect that will change, but just showing you again the difference of bringing the Michelin tyres up to temperature, and crucially, clearly on the front end of that Multimatic Mazda, the pressure's coming up as well, Jeremy, and I think that's what we're seeing here, that they're working quite hard to get the front tyre temperature up.
Yeah, hats off to Patrick Kelly. That's a heck of a first flying lap, isn't it? Really, really impressive. He's now been finally ousted by Renger van der Zande. What was interesting to me about that last lap it was Harry Tinknell we were watching, wasn't it, in the 55 Mazda, how tight he was able to keep that car at turn one.
Yeah.
Use only half of the racetrack. That's incredible.
Hello to Simon Tibbett, sitting down there on the road course, watching the stream as well. He says, come on boys, give me noise. Plenty of that at the moment with all of the cars. I was just about to say, apart from Matthias Leist, but he's now gone out in the JDC Miller Motorsports bright yellow number 85. So Van der Zande down under 70 seconds, 109.9. Tristan Nunez, 109.6. Castro Neves, 111.5. So again, we're under, or at about half a tenth of a second as, oh, a little bit of a spin there. That is for the Aero Motorsport car. And that's at turn 5.
Ooh.
Yeah, we've all done that as well. So,
Have we?
yeah, well, I have.
I've not done that one.
I'm not trying hard enough, Jeremy. Oh, hello.
Whoa.
Now, I'm not an expert, but that is not the right line at the exit of turn 1, as the number 31 Whelan car was way off course to driver's left for Felipe Nasr. He joined back on beyond turn 2 and the rise of the hill. Good job, it's nice and dry out there. So what happened there? Did he just, lost it on the exit? He's been very lucky to keep it off the wall there. Nasr just about holds onto it and rejoins, and
good gracious,
everybody falling off at the moment. The second place car, check that now, the 5th place car, Harry Tinknell off as well. Everyone trying hard here, Jeremy. It might be a 6-hour race, but there's quite clearly, with drivers now weaving left and right to clean their tyres back up again. Nunes down to 109 flat, near enough, has a 10.5 on Dane Cameron from the number 6 Acura, who has 2/100ths of a second on Renger van der Zande, who has 3/100ths on Felipe Nasr, who has half a second on Helio Castro Neves. This one's warming up nicely, still just over half of the 15 minutes to go at 8.5 minutes and counting.
Certainly interesting to me that the Cadillac there should run wide at turn 1, when we saw how tight that Harry Tinknell was able to keep that Mazda Carnival 55. Having said that, Harry Tinknell's nearly 7/10 of a second slower than his teammate Tristan Nunez, who's just gone to the top of the charts in Carnival 77 at a 109.086. But I mean, to carry that tighter line through turn 1 just means either he's binding up the car more than it needs to be, or the grip that that car has is astonishing through turn 1, which is a flat-out corner.
Still showing 31 degrees in the air, 33 on the track. Not
Cameron.
sure where that is being measured. Cameron to the top, and he's the first into the 68-second mark. 108.767, and opens up what for today is a huge gap, 0.3 of a second, with the next 3 cars barely over not even a couple of tenths apart, actually. Nunes, Castro Neves and van der Zande just.
And Nasr.
And Nasr, yes, absolutely.
All within 0.2 of a second. Those 4 years, Nasr just improved on the last lap. But he's still on a good lap there. Was that Renger van der Zande giving him space? I think it was.
Yes, it was.
The 10 car just pulling off line. Nasr, he's on the ragged edge, Randy. He was on the pole here last year, of course. Set the track record, 108.457.
We're not that far from that, Jeremy.
No, exactly. With that lap from Dane Cameron, 108.7, so within 0.3 of a second. Castro Neves in the second of the Acuras up into second place. But Felipe Nasr, he went purple in the first sector in this number 31 Cadillac. Dominant performance 1 year ago here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. He's pushing hard, the Brazilian. A personal best in the second sector also for car number 31. Just a couple of corners to go then.
Across the skyline and then plunging down to the final corner, the right-hander, not even using the curb on the exit. And where does he go? Stays in second.
No, jumps
to second, excuse me. Yeah, 0.058 of a second. That's tightened things up, 108.8. So 3 cars now in the 68, 5 cars now in the 68 second margin, with all the way down to Helio Castro Neves, all under 109. 108.9 for Castro Neves, 108.9 for Harry Tinknell, 108.9 for Tristan Nunez, 108.8 for Nasr, 108.7 for Dane Cameron. And that, if you don't mind, is the top 5 within that 0.2. That's the whole of the top 5 now within 0.2. It's closing up and getting tighter. Let's go down to Shea Adam, who has a little update on the Dwight Merriman Aero Motorsport Orica, which has come back into the pitch.
and it will be staying in the pits for the remainder of the qualifying session. Dwight Merriman had another moment that we didn't see on camera at the exit at 10B, and the team decided that they didn't want to risk sending him out around and around without making sure that the floor was completely fine. So that 18 car will be sitting in the pit lane for the remainder of the session, which means, Mr. Kelly, happy birthday. Patrick, you've got another pole position.
That's Shea Adam with that VP Racing Fuel pit lane report. Right, are you ready? 4.5 minutes to go. Let's see who thinks they've still got some performance to give.
NASA's just gone to the top of the 18.730. So we've now got the top 7 cars within 3.5 tenths of a second.
Extraordinary.
And we're the Cadillac drivers. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, goodness gracious me. Catherine Evans has gone to the top by 0.056 of a second in the number 7 Acura. And Elio Catherine Evans, he is fantastic. He's the least young driver in the DPI field.
Nice. I like the way you did that.
Thank you, at 45. But he's just driving with such enthusiasm, such energy, and he's just as fast as ever.
I think he's getting quicker, if I'm honest. I really do. Well, I think he's been brilliant the last couple of seasons. I really do.
Yeah, and 2 poles in the last 3 races. His first career start was right here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in 2017, wasn't it? Put the car on the pole position then, and he's done now to 108.674. Felipe Nasser has just brought the number 31 car into the pits. The second of the Acura is also in the pits. Those 3 cars in the top 3, number 7, 31 and 6, covered by less than a tenth of a second.
Then there's a tenth and a half back to Tristan Nunez, and then nothing at all between Tristan and his teammate Harry Tinknell, 0.032 when I say nothing at all, but you try stopping the timer on your phone at 0.032, you'll do very well. Running wide at turn 7 for Tinknell last time around might have ruined what was looking to be a decent lap. He'd done a personal best in the first sector, and in fact he does pit.
Been a very untidy session, hasn't it, for Harry Tinknell, I think, and he'd been a little bit disappointed with himself there. He's only 0.03 slower than his teammate Tristan Nunez, but he'll feel, I think, he left a little bit on the table. Meanwhile, the 2 P2 cars are both on pit lane. We heard about Dwight Merriman, Patrick Kelly also into the pits, having turned a 112.2 in the number 52 car for PR1 Matheson Motorsports.
Still out there, Tristan Nunez is going for another one. He had a bit of a slow down, cool down lap. Oh my goodness, hammers the curb at the top of the hill and really heard the thump there from the front and the floor of the car. And again, the Mazda's scraping the outside of the front spoilers at any undulation on the Road Atlanta track. Down into turn number 6 now. Flings that in. The sun has gone behind the trees at turn 7. It is really quite gloomy over the far side of the circuit. Our TV camera coverage that we've got, and many of you will be watching, makes it look a lot brighter than it is. No headlights running on the 77 car. Mazda and Multimatic have taken to doing that the last few races, we've noticed. Down at the braking area for 10. Touring car amount of curb on the left-hand side, stays off the middle curb and then dives straight into the pit lane. So the delta mustn't have been what he was looking for. I mean, it's fractions of a second. Absolute fractions of a second. Felipe Nasser with the first sector. There are only 2 drivers under 8 seconds, and it's Felipe Nasser and Sebastian Bourdais who were under 8 seconds. And the second 2 sectors belong to Castro Neves, 36.1 and 24.475. Because it is so tight, and the margin of pole position then for Elio, 0.056 of a second. Back to the Cadillac. Then on row 2 it'll be Dane Cameron's Acura, the number 6 car. That's another 0.037 back. Then Tristan Nunez for the first of the Multimatic Mazdas on another tenth and a half back, and separated from the inside of row 3 and his teammate by 0.032. Top 6 made up by Bourdais at another 1/10 of a second. He's 0.012 of a second from Van der Zande, who's on the inside of row 4, and Matthias Leist 0.6 away. But the top 7 under half a second, 0.4 of a second. We thought GT Le Mans was good, and it was. That wasn't quite as close for the whole field, but the top 3 within 1/10 of a second. That is quality stuff by all of those drivers, Jeremy. And in a 6-hour race, don't tell these guys that track position doesn't matter. That's all about bragging rights tonight. That's all about wringing the car's neck. That's as fast, I think, as we'll see those cars go this weekend. Proper qualifying and a great pole position for Elio.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely tremendous effort. You can see how thrilled he is, as he always is, to get a pole position. What a character he is. Just a blessing for the sport that it still has the enthusiasm. This operation will not be the same next year. Team Penske already announced that they will not be running the Acuras next year, but this guy deserves to be driving something somewhere, and preferably from our perspective in sports car racing.
Well, he will, with the checkered flag out a moment or two ago, he fires up the Penske team Acura and heads down for the celebrations. Big thumbs up and celebrations in the car from Elio Castro-Neves. Let's go to Shea Adam, who has his teammate Ricky Taylor.
Ricky, this seems kind of fitting. You got the pole position the last time out of Road America. We didn't get a chance to have a proper chat with you. So Elio getting it done here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. How important is it to have that beautiful, clear track ahead of you and an Acura right behind you?
Yeah, I mean, coming here for the Prix last year, we qualified second of 31. So Elio did an amazing job to put us on the pole here. A lot of work from the guys. I mean, it's such a condensed weekend. It really shows all the work that they've done between races, and just hats off to all the Acura Team Penske guys and Elio for putting together a fantastic lap.
Now, you guys are a little bit back in points, but race wins definitely makes a difference for that. So how much are you still looking at coming away with the championship versus coming away with the Michelin Le Mans, the Endurance Cup?
Yeah, we've got nothing to lose. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and we can just go out and try to win races, and wherever the points, fall at the end of the year, we can't be disappointed from here if we can win a bunch of races and hopefully catch a little bit of luck on the way.
Ricky, it's signed off in the Hagerty Global Broadcast Centre here. Looked like the guys were having to be relatively aggressive on the first couple of laps out there. I mean, are you struggling to get tyre temperatures this late in the day?
I mean, the track temperature is, I think, about 20 degrees cooler than practice. There's, the car's making a lot of downforce right now, and it's hard to build the temperature at the moment. So yeah, they had to work pretty hard, but at the same point, you want to really nail the lap in the window of the tire, and I think you can see there are people kind of playing around, building up the pressure. Some people taking 2 laps to build up pressure, and some people going for it right away, and Elio kind of waiting till the end, and yeah, it was a really tough game.
And what about the race tomorrow? There, with his teammate there. Can we have is any chance of having a quick word with Elio whilst we've got him?
It's an interview. Yeah, that's right. That's my man here, RT. Ready for him too. Woo!
Hey Elio, it's hang on, he's dashing off already.
He's gone now.
I love his enthusiasm, Rick. I mean, how do you keep up with somebody with that kind of enthusiasm? It's infectious.
I know, it really is infectious. So, I mean, everybody's, it's hard not to be down in the COVID period right now, but we're so happy to be at the racetrack. We're so lucky to get to go racing, and he works really hard at these sorts of results. So, I mean, we're all super excited, but for him especially, it's a great achievement to get the pole here.
Right, go and enjoy it. We've kept you too long, and race well tomorrow, won't you?
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Well done to Shea Adam, our VP Racing Fuel pit reporter there. Helio Castro-Neves takes the pole position and has the same enthusiasm now, Jeremy, as he would have had sort of years ago as a 19-year-old if he'd taken a pole position.
Yeah, I remember when he and Tony Kanaan first came over here to race in Indy Lights with the Tasman Motorsports team, and they were both two kind of different characters certainly, but good friends even then, and they brought a great enthusiasm to the sport then, and it's for Helio, nothing has changed in the intervening 20 odd years. Brilliant. More than that, isn't it?
3 fabulous qualifying sessions for our Saturday 6-hour endurance challenge at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Aim Vassar-Sullivan, Lexus on pole for GTD. Nick Tandy, Nick's pole position in a super tight GT LM battle for Porsche, and Helio Castro-Neves nails another pole position for Acura Team Penske by 0.056 of a second over Cadillac and the rest of the field. Join us tomorrow when we'll have the whole race for you live in sound and vision.